not feeling like you always need more and you want more, but just saying, you know what, God, you've given me so much and I'm so content and I thank you for that and I praise you for that. What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Cameron. Today we're going to be talking about contentment and just having a heart of thankfulness and of gratitude and how it can actually change our lives for the better. We're going to be in Philippians 4, reading some wise words from Paul yet again. I hope you have your coffee with you today. I have a hot maple cinnamon latte from a local coffee shop in town. It is such a great flavor combination, so next time you go to a coffee shop, you should try it. I'm going to be throwing around the word content and contentment a lot today, and so I wanted to provide an official definition for the word just to bring some clarity, or if you need a little reminder before we get into the actual video. A few quick disclaimers: my sweet dog is kind of whining in the back, but she's okay. She just wants to get out. I'll get her out after this, don't worry. Also, I am still getting over some really annoying allergies, so if I sound sick, I'm not. I'm just having some allergies, aren't we all? Okay, here's the official definition of contentment. Contentment is a state of peaceful happiness and satisfaction with one's situation, marked by a sense of fulfillment and ease, rather than a constant striving for more. Doesn't that sound familiar? A constant striving for more. You know, you may notice that social media is not quite what it used to be. If you have been around long enough on social media to have seen it about 10 years ago or even more, social media used to be a place where people posted selfies and shared memes, and you know, if you went on vacation, you might post a picture or two at the beach. We are beyond those days for the most part. You know, we still see that, but we are in a day and age where nearly everything we see on social media is monetized in some way or another. It's really hard to scroll for any amount of time before you are invited to click on a link or shop someone's Amazon storefront or use someone's discount code. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being an influencer or making money on social media. In fact, I think it's opened a lot of doors for a lot of people, and that it's actually really cool. I do think it has changed the experience for the majority of people and consumers on social media, and I'm gonna go as far to say that I think it has taken away a little bit of the fun. As someone who loves to shop and spend money, it's actually quite dangerous for me to be spending a lot of time consuming this content because it's just so tempting to buy things. I mean, influencers are really good at their job and they can make you really feel like you want a product or you're gonna be missing out if you don't have it. Not only on social media are we bombarded with people trying to sell us stuff, but we are also taking in everyone's highlight reels. We are always seeing everyone's best on social media. That can be exciting to keep in touch with people and hear people's good news all the time, but if you are comparing that to your normal, average, everyday life, it can kind of make you feel left out, or you know, less important, or maybe that your life is less exciting. You can feel like you're not enough, and that just doesn't make you feel good, right? Like, that's not a positive experience. As we read in Philippians today, Paul is going to provide us with some really powerful words on being content in our circumstances and being content in the Lord. If you want to follow along with me, like I said, we'll be in Philippians 4. In this book of the Bible, Paul has just been imprisoned for sharing the gospel, for sharing his faith, so he is actually writing this letter from prison. A seemingly pretty dark and low point for him, but even then he has encouragement to share with the believers in Philippi. All of this encouragement that he is giving them is directed toward God. He's saying, hey, look to God. Don't be anxious for anything, but present your request to God, and you will find peace in him. He says whatever's true, whatever's noble, whatever's pure, and the list goes on. He says think about those things, and the peace of God will be with you. Verse 11, Paul says, I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. Paul is encouraging the believers here that they can find contentment in both the good times and the not so good times, because contentment is not actually about their circumstances. It actually goes much deeper than that. It's about something much deeper than that. Something I take away from what Paul is saying here right off the bat is that he is dependent on the Lord. He is pointing the believers in Philippi to the Lord, okay? It is showing his dependence on God. It is showing his surrender to God. And how freeing is it to know that you can have joy despite what is happening around you? You've probably learned by now that you can't control what happens around you. So if you are depending on that to feel joyful or to feel content in your circumstances, then that is going to be a roller coaster of emotions where you're happy today and you're frustrated tomorrow, and vice versa, and it just goes on and on and on. Paul's learned here that he is consistent. He has that contentment in times of plenty and in times of want. I really believe that this attitude of thankfulness is just another way that we can glorify God and actually bring him honor. If you think about it, the opposite of contentment would be discontentment, and that is something that focuses on self. If I'm discontent, then I'm often thinking about all the things I want, all the things I don't have, and that kind of goes back to social media. I'm going to blame social media for it, that we're always reminded of all these things that we don't have, or these experiences that we've never been a part of. And if you kind of sit in that and you just let your mind like go over that over and over again, then you can kind of feel like, man, my life stinks, or like, man, I don't have all these things, my life isn't cool, I'm not cool. But on the other hand, if you are focused on contentment, that's going to lead you to fix your eyes on God and to think about him and to praise him for who he is and all that he's already done in your life. That leads me to something that I think that you could do right now or right after this video, and that is reflect on the things that God has already done in your life. Sometimes the perfect pick-me-up that you need in your faith, if you're going through a dry season or feeling discouraged, is just to remind yourself of the faithfulness that God has already shown you. To reflect on your life a year ago or maybe 2 years ago and think about all these answered prayers and just how God has provided for you. I know for me personally, years ago I would pray for my future husband and my future marriage, and I hadn't dated anyone yet, but it was a desire that I wanted to get married, you know, just like most people. And to see now, I've been married for almost a year, and that has been just a great answered prayer for me. And the same goes for jobs that I've had, and even where I went to college. You know, these are all big life-changing things, and just to see God's provision and how he led me and guided me through all of that, it was just so encouraging to be reminded of and think about. In doing this, I believe this will not only encourage you, but it is going to encourage the people around you. I think a heart of thankfulness and of gratitude can be contagious, and that when you have joy in your circumstances, and when you have joy and contentment in the Lord, that can spread to the people around you, and that is a great way to share the love of God. To share Jesus with the people around you is not feeling like you always need more and you want more, but just saying, you know what, God, you've given me so much, and I'm so content, and I thank you for that, and I praise you for that. One final thought that makes me feel even more grateful is knowing that we have a God who cares about us and cares about our needs and our fears and our worries. If contentment is hard for you, if it's hard for you to feel joyful or to look around at your life and feel grateful, take that to God. Take it to the Lord if that is a struggle for you. You don't have to pretend and put on this mask. God is a faithful God who listens and cares for you. He is there to talk to you. There is so much in his word. It can be an encouragement to you. So I hope that whatever season you're in, however you feel right now, that you can spend time with the Lord. You can be encouraged by what Paul has to say. And maybe if you are feeling down or you're not feeling very grateful and content in your life, that you can look back and recall sometimes that God's been good to you. I don't mind Bella's squeaking. I hope that you can find joy in today. The Lord is good and so generous and so faithful. I really believe the enemy wants us to forget that. That's why it's even more important to remember those things. This is the day that the Lord has made, so let us rejoice and be glad in it. Cheers to that. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing day. If you have any thoughts on this topic, I would love to hear them in the comments. If you aren't yet, feel free to subscribe so you can watch more videos like this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! I'm encouraging the believers here that they can find contentment. And how freeing is it to know? Okay, I had to go talk to Bella. I feel so bad. One final thought.